Okaeri Nasai Minasan. Today we're gonna talk about Kamen Rider Geats episode 25. There is a lot of big Nani the F moment in this episode. Quite a lot of interesting information has been revealed. First of all, Neon is a product of the goddess of creation. That is a really big surprise. And the second thing that we learned that is really blow my mind is the future war. It actually reminded me of a certain alien war, which I'm gonna expand upon it later. But right now, I just want to talk about how episode 25 started off as an introduction to the second half of the series. We got new drip, we got a new game master, we got a new game navigator, and it is so insane. I really did not expect the breeder is actually the one that actually kind of like voiced over the episode that introduced us to what we are about to see. Really did not see this coming, but it finally makes sense for them to hire someone like the breeder. Like the actor for the breeder is actually quite a famous actor in Japan. I felt like he acted in quite a lot of show, and the way he's acting is actually quite talented. So we actually get to see more of him, which is really good, which I'm really happy about. And another thing that I really enjoy is the opening song. We actually get to see Jyamato more and more in the opening song, and that is kind of like slowly showing us how the Jyamato is taking over the DGP and slowly taking over the war that Geats is actually in, and that is so amazing. I really love that minor detail that they use in the opening song to show us the transfer of power from the DGP to the Jyamato Grand Prix itself. That is really amazing. And this episode, we are also starting a new arc. When we start the second half of the series, we start a new arc called Lamentation. There's a book in the Bible called Lamentation, but I never went into Googling what does Lamentation actually mean until I saw it in as the arc name for this arc of Kamen Rider Geats. Okay, so Lamentation means the passionate expression of grief or sorrow. This is really interesting because for a word lamentation, I really did not expect it to mean a passionate expression of grief. And when we have an art called lamentation, it is either the defeat. It is kind of like hinting at us the possible defeat of the DGP, or it could actually be hinting at us for a possibility of how Toru is gonna die in front of Azuma once again, and Azuma is gonna face that grief once again of losing his best friend once again, because in this latest episode we actually get to see the Toru that Azuma is talking to is actually a Jyamato. The Night Jyamato is actually Toru. He has the memory, he has the personality, but he is still not fully Toru. Okay, like if he continue to evolve and if the Jyamato continue to evolve and continue to eat from the ID core of Toru, then it would actually means that sooner or later we are gonna see a Jyamato that have the full personality and the full memory of Toru. And I felt like when that actually happened, I felt like the Jyamato could actually reach a state in their life where they actually realize that shit, the thing that I'm doing right now is actually bad, because everything that the Jyamato is doing right now is feeding off their desire, feeding off the desire that has been planted inside the ID core itself. But what if when the Jyamato actually regain all the human emotion, the personality and memories, are they still gonna fight for the Jyamato team, or are they gonna rebel against the breeder? Are they gonna rebel against Beroba? Because I believe when you actually think about the Jyamato getting smarter and smarter, eventually it is gonna reach a point in their evolution line where they realize that, hey, the thing that we are doing is actually super duper bad, and they might actually try to find a way to survive together as a human. They might actually be a Jyamato in the future where they actually see themselves as human rather than seeing themselves as a Jyamato itself. But that is just a a theory that I have, just a kind of like just a thought. Okay, I just wanna try to see how far they are gonna bring the evolution of Jyamato moving forward. But I have a feeling Toro is gonna die, so maybe the lamentation is gonna be targeting towards Azuma grief, like he's gonna increase on his determination to take down all the rider and take down the DGP. But I actually agree on a lot of people. Like a lot of people are actually quite like kind of like confused with the character of Azuma, because as a normal human, when you see all this thing going on, like the person that you're gonna blame is not gonna be the rider. The person you're gonna blame is actually gonna be the Jyamato, because they actually uses Toro's ID code to recreate a Toro. So you as a person would actually feel angry to see your friend to be used in this manner. So your anger should be towards the Jyamato, and also the anger should also be towards the Desire Grand Prix for designing such a game and toying with the life of the human itself. So a lot of people are feeling very, very frustrated that, hey, how come Azuma's head seems to be targeted towards Geats, seems to be targeted towards the rider itself, when they themselves are not to be blamed for the death of Toru. But then again, I felt like Azuma's head came from a really, really interesting place, because in this episode we also get to see his past. We get to see that he used to be a gangster together with Toru, and this is a really, really amazing scene, because I really did not expect to see an expansion or a deeper dive into Azuma's past. We actually get to see how he is like very, very close to Toru, and their relationship is really, really tight. They used to be gangster together, and you know, like back in the like gangster, one thing that I respect about gangster is their bond with one another, the way they never leave each other behind, and the brotherly bond that they have with one another. That is one thing that I really respect about the gangster, because like they are the family, because it almost felt like they don't have a family at home, so the brothers there are their family, so they're gonna like do whatever they can for their brother, and that is something that I really, really respect. But this is also why we actually get to see Azuma so deeply hurt and so deeply moved by the death of Toru, because we actually get to see their relationship, and we finally understand why Azuma all this while has been holding on to the idea to destroy all the riders, because in his perspective, the riders are also partly responsible for the death of Toru. Because if you really think about it, we as humans, when we are given an opportunity as to participate in the Desire Grand Prix or not, if you choose to participate in the Desire Grand Prix, means that you are condoning to the idea of killing, you are condoning to the idea of possible hurting another human being in the process of gaining what you want. So you became an accomplice to the crime of the death of Toru itself. So maybe that is how Azuma actually views the rider itself. Like he hated the rider. It's like if maybe in his mind he has a mindset that if he has a dream you want to fulfill, why not you just work for it? Why not you just strive for it? Why do you count? Why do you rely on such a system? Why do you rely on the DGP to fulfill your wish? And because of that, my best friend died because of you guys, say something like that. Maybe, but then again, it's still very, very hard to defend like how Azuma is feeling right now, because honestly speaking, the way Azuma is thinking is not like the rest of the human. Like he's not very rational, definitely for sure. So we just have to wait and see how Azuma's character is gonna progress in the future. Is he gonna become a good guy at the end of the story, or is he gonna stay on the path of villain, and we're gonna see him becoming the final villain of the show? That is gonna be really, really crazy, okay? But with that being said, let us talk about a few big Nani the F stuff regarding this week of Kamen Rider Geats. The first thing is the Bell Oni Festival. I actually went and googled Bell Oni Festival to see whether or not this is a real festival in Japan or not, and I couldn't find any information regarding the Bell Oni Festival. The only festival that popped up to me when I googled Bell Oni Festival is the Setsubun Festival, which I talked about about in a few episodes ago. In one of the review, I talk about how you are supposed to eat the entire rice roll and without stop, and that is also the festival where one of your family member is gonna act as Oni, then the Oni is gonna rush into the house and you're supposed to throw rice onto the Oni to chase it away, something like that. So that is the only festival I saw regarding Oni from Japan itself. So I'm pretty sure, but I still someone from Japan, okay, if you're from Japan, let me know, is the Bell Oni festival a real festival or is it just a made up festival to kind of like link it together with the Jyamato Grand Prix game itself? Because the Jyamato Grand Prix game this time is for you to destroy the love possession of human, and at the end of the day you are gonna build 5 tower, and that 5 tower is gonna destroy the wall. But the real final boss is to actually lure out Niram and to take away the Niram's love possession, and that is the vision driver itself. So very interesting stuff. Based on the way Barobas set up this Jyamato Grand Prix game to be, it almost seems like we are only gonna get one round of the Jyamato Grand Prix and we're not gonna get a second round unless the rider actually managed to defeat all the Jyamato in this round, and maybe we're gonna see a second round of the Jyamato Grand Prix and maybe the third round of the Jyamato Grand Prix as well. But this is really fun because the how do I say, the way to signify that you actually participate in the Jyamato Grand Prix is by hooking the chain with 2 bells on it, and it actually reminds me of Naruto because the game that the Kakashi and Team 7 actually play as like one of the testing ground, or to test their skill and to test their teamwork, is the bell game itself. You have to snatch 2 bells away from Kakashi, and if you manage to do that, then you're gonna win, something like that. Okay, so this is something that when I see it, I was like, oh man, this reminds me of Naruto for some weird reason. But yeah, with that being said, let me move on to a really big Nani the F moment that we learned in this episode, and that is the future war that Kekera from Kyun and also what was his name again, Jin, actually came from. Even Baroba, like the 4 of them came from a war where all of their future, everything in their life has been fixed since the beginning of their birth. And this actually reminds me of Krypton. For those who do not know, Krypton, the war of Superman, the war where Kal-El actually come from Krypton, is actually famous for this. Like every single baby that was being born on Krypton is designed specifically there to be, when they grow up, they're gonna become this profession, they're gonna be in this field, because it has been designed, their DNA has been designed since the birth to be someone like this, to be an engineer, to be an architect, to be an artist, to be this and to be that, except for Kal-El. Because Kal-El, he is kind of like the family of L, the house of L actually decide like, bro, I'm not gonna do this, I'm gonna give my son a free will to choose whatever he wants to do in the future. When he grows up, whatever he wants to do, he can choose to do it. And that is a war where I would say there's no such thing as free will if you really think about it. Krypton might be a really successful war, but then again, we see what happened to Krypton because of what they did, because of how successful their life actually is. They actually end up destroying their own war at the end of the day. So maybe that is something similar that happened to the war of Jin, Kekera, Kyun, and also Baroba. Maybe their war is no longer there, like there's no longer a future for them to go back to, and that is why they are on this travel to kind of like to find some sort of entertainment in their so-called ancient civilization. But this is really interesting because a war without free will is a war not worth living at all. Part of becoming a human, part of being a human is free will, and that is why, like even in Christianity, I just want to talk about how I view free will. And when I talk about free will, I cannot escape from what I believe, and that is I believe in Jesus, something like that. Because a lot of people would actually say like, if God is so good, then why bad things still exist on this world? Very simple question. Free will exists, and free will exists because we are human, because God designed us to have human, and having free will to choose to whether for you to do good or to do bad is the free will of humanity. And if you loses that free will to choose whether or not you are gonna become a good person or a bad person, you are no longer a human. You are that basic right has been taken away from you, and that is something really really scary. But then again, nowadays, if you really look at our war, I'm sorry here, this is a little bit out of topic, but I just really want to share this. Nowadays on our war, there's a lot of people who actually uses the idea of free will so freely. It's like, wow, it is my free will to believe this is who I am, and that is who you are, that is not right, and that is not right, something like that. It almost felt like we are misusing the idea of free will. When I talk about free will, it is not that you are able to do whatever you want, but it's like, how do I say, it's like I've been giving you free will. At the end of the day, is giving you the faith, have giving you the faith that you're gonna choose to do the right thing. And a lot of people is gonna choose to do the wrong thing, and that is the sad truth of our humanity, sad truth of this world itself. But let me move on before I waste too much of your time. It has been 16 minutes long, but the last thing I want to talk about is Neon Kurama. Holy shit! Holy shit, Neon Kurama turns out to be a product of Goddess of Creation. Nani the F. This is really, really big. I really did not see this coming. And I was just thinking to myself when I was watching this episode, I was like, hey, is Neon father also from the future as well? But it turns out that is not the fact, okay? It turns out that Neon's father used to be a winner of the DGP, and he actually wishes for a daughter itself. Oh my god! This means the Goddess of Creation has the power to create life, and this would also mean maybe this ancient civilization, this war of the past called by Jin, and might actually be created from the Goddess of Creation itself. What if they didn't try and travel, but they created an alternate world in this pocket dimension, and all of these are created by the Goddess of Creation? They did not time travel. They create an alternate world for them to observe how the human is gonna live here in the past itself. So it became an entertainment park. It became like Westworld. It became like Jurassic Park, something like that. Okay, like instead of dinosaur, they created the ancient civilization, the ancient human, something like that. And I'm telling you, that is gonna be big. That is gonna be crazy, and I don't know, man. Like, this is really, really big news, because the power of Goddess of Creation is really, really big and really, really crazy. But with that being said, this also means that the wish of KY, what KY wanted for his wish to resurrect all the life of the dead players is possible. But this would also mean one of our theory about how Ukiyo S is actually one of the product of Goddess of Creation could actually be a truth as well. Okay, so all of these could actually be hinting at us that KY wish can be fulfilled, and also hinting at us that what if Neon Kurama is not the only product of Goddess of Creation? What if S is also the product of Goddess of Creation? And maybe Mitsune uses the power of Goddess of Creation to create S. That could actually be really, really interesting as well. Or maybe S, okay, just another idea. Okay, what if S is kind of like the Superman of the House of L? Just now I actually talked about how the House of L actually choose to allow their children to not have any like predetermined course in their life when they grow up to be. And what if Mitsune actually had a son, and Mitsune purposefully designed the son to not have a predestined path in his life, and what if Mitsune purposefully leave S in the past so that he's gonna grow up to become Ukyo S, because he knows that if S grow up in the world that she actually grew up in, then she knows that S is not gonna find happiness because he doesn't have a predestined path, and everyone have a predestined path. That is gonna affect S quite a lot. He might actually make him become an outcast or something like that. But when you make a child that doesn't have a predestined path and you put him into the past, that is gonna allow him to blossom. That is gonna allow him to become whatever he wants to be. Just like how Superman, when the House of L created Superman, like created Kal-El and sent him over to Earth, they actually gave him a future of endless possibility. He can choose to be whatever he wants, and that could actually be the story of Ukyo S as well. Maybe he is also kind of like the Superman of Kamen Rider Geats. That is just a crazy theory that I have. Really, really crazy stuff. But yeah, I just want to end the video with this Nani the F theory. Let me know in the comment section below, what do you think of everything I said. Like, just entertain it, give it a thought, don't reject it too fast. But since you made it this far into the video, I want to leave a word review so that you could actually comment in the comment section below to let me know you actually finished the video. And the word this time is gonna be Canon. Why Canon? I don't know. It just maybe the camera I'm using is called Canon, so the word is Canon. Okay, so that is all. Hope you enjoy, and I'll be seeing you guys in the next one. Goodbye.